What is going on, guys? This is Bourbon N Ball. We're talking hot, not sellers, buyers. You're going to not want to miss this because this is going to be a really fun, action-packed episode this week. What is going on? I'm Doug. That is Mikey V. This is Bourbon N Ball. I'm down in the cave. He's down over in Clearwater, Florida. And this is where we're going to be talking stiff competition and drinking some stiff drinks as well, my friend.
Ooh, what do you got in there tonight, Doug? What is that?
I got some bourbon, some bourbon from upstairs. I think the rest of my my Scottish, when I went to Scotland, the leftover stuff. So,
very nice.
That might be the last of it. But we're going to be talking hot and not real quick, right? Some familiar name. Might as well just jump right in because there are some good things to talk about when you talk about selling and buying. Because me and you don't agree on some of those, and that's fun when we don't because we all manipulate those numbers to our own advantage in the discussion, and that's always fun and that's always great. I do want to say though, and Mike, I told you this the other day. There was someone who watched our live show last week and made a comment about me spite keeping Scooble if I was the GM of the Tigers. And it was so funny because I read it, and obviously you want to sell the player. If you're a GM, you build your organization. But on the flip side of that, we were discussing that has happened in the past. It happened with the Nationals and Bryce Harper. How many times did he ask to be traded? And they never traded him. They kept him. They held him. You can make the case, well, they thought they were going to sign him. Let's be honest. They weren't going to give you the money that the Yankees were involved in that. I think the Giants were involved in that. And then, of course, Philly, no way they were going to make that. They spite kept them. So I stand by that. Some owners do it. Obviously, that's not a smart move. But to the guy who said that, the guy's just a troll, man. Come on. You kidding me? Silliness. That's silly.
It's got to be one of many, Doug.
It's true. So here they are. And, man, I mean, some familiar names, some not so familiar names. Let me run through the hot hitters. Mike, you could come in, break them down a little bit for us, and then we'll do the pitchers. So I have Nationals outfielder James Woods. He is 99% owned. Man, 333, 3 homers, 6 ribbies, 10 runs, 2 strikeouts, which is very surprising. That is a hit-or-miss type player. 2 stolen bases, 52 points, 8.7 a start. So every day he was in your lineup, he gave you at least 8 points. That is insane. That is a great average to have. That's more than some pitchers, believe it or not. Next up, Mets outfield DH Juan Soto. It was just a matter of time before he made this list, right? 99.8% owned. Same average, 333, 4 homers, 11 ribbies, 6 runs, 1 stolen base, 43 points, 6.1 a start. Not too shabby as well. I think what makes this a little more surprising is his numbers overall. I think they look really wild. They're insane. If you factor in that this guy missed 3 weeks with that hamstring issue after the first month of the year, and his totals, he's got 297. He's got 21 home runs. He's on pace for 40. He's got 50 ribbies. He's on pace for 100. He's got 44 runs. He's on pace for about 90. He's only got 41 strikeouts and 7 stolen bases, 274 points, 3.7 a start. He misses 3 weeks, and he comes back, and he's still a top 10, top 15 bat overall, regardless of position. That is the myth, the man, the legend, Juan Soto, I believe. And then some honorable mentions here. You got Marlins Otto Lopez, you've got Nationals, Luis Garcia Jr. So you got 2 Nationals. So obviously that whole team had a good week. They both gave you 40 points. You got Ben Rice, Jordan Walker, we're going to talk about later on, 39 points. Ryan O'Hearn, 38 points. He had himself a day. I want to say he got most of those in one game. And then to end on these honorable mentions, you got Matt Olson and you got Royals Tyler Tolbert, both with 34 points. So.
Yeah, Tyler Tolbert, was he the guy that had 12 straight at-bats with a hit?
Yeah, it's him. That's the man.
Major league record, right? Tied a major league record. Incredible. That's history right there, my brother. Man, we had to start with this list. Let's start with the top, right? I usually start from the bottom and then go to the top, but let's start from the top this week, Doug. Because James Wood, we have to give him his credit because right now he's the number 2 outfielder in most fantasy leagues and fantasy points. And there's a couple different variables looking at his numbers this year compared to last year. So far, yes, the strikeouts are still there. He has 127 to this point. That's over a strikeout per game, right? That's the James Wood that we've always known. But here's a couple different things. There's a little bit more patience at the plate. He had, let's see, I wrote it down here, Doug, 85 walks in 2025. This year, he's already at 77. So he's already got a lot more walks there. And he's also got 15 stolen bases, too, which, I mean, little by little, it does add up. So it kind of washes out the strikeouts. We've always seen it with Kyle Schwarber as well. You know, these power hitters can find a way to be successful in fantasy leagues, even when you count strikeouts. James Wood is finding that way. At least this year he is. So, again, you got to tip the cap to him. I think the only other guy that's above him right now is Yordan Alvarez. But you got to give credit where credit's due there. And Juan Soto's not too far behind either. I mean, he's in fourth, Doug. I mean, really quiet fourth right now in outfielders. Looking great so far to this point. I expect the same thing from him. It's like as much noise that there is with Juan Soto, there really is nothing to worry about ever with him. Ever. Because he's just always going to get you the 525 points that he gets every year. He might just go a different way of getting it, but he'll always get you to that point. Just incredible stuff. Let's talk middle infield for a second, right? Otto Lopez. Not a lot of guys had him at number one shortstop at this point this year, and second base for that matter as well. Same thing with Luis Garcia, number four second baseman so far to this point in most leagues. I mean, that's killer. Those guys, especially Luis Garcia, I feel like he's been on a heater for like 3-4 weeks now.
Yeah, I agree.
Really just hitting the ball well. You know, you mentioned Jordan Walker. We're going to talk about Jordan Walker a little bit later, so I don't want to spoil anything there for sure. But, you know, the last guy I really talk about, also Ben Rice has been great this year too so far to this point. Matt Olson, kind of having a resurgence year. Got to call, you know, for what it is. It's a resurgence year. We don't know if it's going to be a continuous thing year in, year out with him. But at least this year, he's showing up 25-plus home runs already, looking at 40-plus home runs this year for the you know, hopefully for the rest of the year. I mean, that's a top 5, top 3 first baseman right there at this point so far. So, again, a lot of familiar names, and we see a couple of guys with a bounce-back year at this point, especially Jordan Walker, you know, slow start with his career, but really, you know, a fun list here of guys really having a really good first half, most of them.
Yeah, I mean, my only hesitation with some of them, you know, James Woods, same thing last year, right? I mean, everybody, he was an MVP front runner, right? Him, PCA, and then the second half just kind of, you know, went to bed, never really woke back up. And I mean, Matt Olson can do that too. I mean, he's been on the cold list. He's been, I don't know, mentioned on that list a couple times. You know, a bad week with Matt Olson will cost you a W in fantasy, really, because you're talking about someone that could just pile on strikeouts. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm like, I like James Woods. I know he was good. He was always good. That Nationals lineup is good. I mean, CJ Abrams in there. You have him. I mean, it's exactly what it should be, right? But again, my hesitation is show it to me for a year. Show me you can go out there, you can do it for a year, then I'm buying. Right now, I don't know if I'm buying. I get it. I get everything about him. He's that guy that kind of that unicorn everybody talks about, who can go out, hit home runs, steal bases, drive in runs, produce runs. Like he could do pretty much everything. His average isn't what people want it to be, but I think that might be his only kink, that and the strikeouts. But you got to keep it up for a year, man. And he hasn't done that. You know, that's my only knock on him. Otherwise, I'm sold. But yeah. Hey, who knows? Maybe he does, and then the end of the year when we have our last episode of the regular season, I can say, listen, this guy is your number one outfielder. Now, where he will be drafted next year, I don't think would be number one outfielder draft position. You know what I mean? I think he wouldn't go in the first round still. He's more maybe like a third or fourth or something like that, because he's done it for 1 full year. But I do like him. I do like when he brings to the table when he's healthy. I just, you know, give it to me for a year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he's a late bloomer. He's a late bloomer. He reminds me of an Aaron Judge. Really, he was a late bloomer as well. He wasn't really, you know, all put together until he got, you know, late into his 20s and his early 30s at this point. James Wood kind of going that same projectile. The big knock on Judge coming up was his strikeouts. Same thing with Wood here. Maybe he found it, but like you said, he needs to be consistent first before we can trust him. And hey, it's great to ride him out. It's great to see the production that we've seen so far. But like you said, it's all about consistency in fantasy. We've seen so many guys have career years and then just fall off the face of the earth. Happens all the time.
I mean, man, Cal Riley.
Ooh,
So
I was thinking
far,
Austin Riley. Yeah, I was thinking
that too. Ugh.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk pitchers here. We got Blue Jays starting pitcher Dylan Cease, 99% owned. He had himself a pretty good week. 2-0, 15 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts, no earned, 4 walks, 57.2 points. His first win was at Seattle, and man, that Seattle team, they just got swept by Miami. That's more of the offense than the pitching, though, because the pitching was there for a lot of those games, minus Bryce Miller, obviously. But that's an offensive issue that we might even talk about when we start talking next week. I think we're doing our hot stove this Monday, right?
Yes. Big episode.
So we'll be talking about some players that we think can be a really good fit for that team. But yeah, so his first one was at Seattle. His second one was at San Francisco against the Giants. Then you have Philly starting pitcher Jesus Luzardo. This is another guy that's kind of like night and day. 95.6% owned. Had himself a good week, man. 2-0, 13 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts, 1 earned, 2 walks, 55 points. First win was at Kansas City against the Royals, then at Cincinnati against the Reds. So to see 2 wins by both these guys, not at home, they were flowing. That's when you know you got the flow. Some honorable mentions, you got Red Sox Jake Bennett. He gave you 45. Merrill Kelly, Foster Griffin gave you 39. Gavin Williams gave you 32. Michael King, Zach Wheeler gave you 31. And then finally you had a hodgepodge of people that gave you 27 points. Yamamoto, Joe Ryan, Taj Bradley, and then Orioles Trevor Rogers all gave you 27 points on the past 7 days.
Man, yeah, it's that time of year again for Dylan Cease to really try to put a heater on and really make himself a top 15, top 10 fantasy pitcher, isn't it? Does it every year. I feel like every year he has an 8-inning, 9-inning, no-hitter or run out of no-hitter, and then he ties up all these points. But it kind of masks him, right, Doug? I feel like we could talk about Dylan Cease all the time and kind of what, we look at his numbers, but we've seen the starts and we've seen how he's got those numbers before. He overperforms in a lot of these games. And he gets, 30, 35 points all of a sudden, a couple games. And then all of a sudden he goes back to that 4 2/3, 5 innings, 10 Ks, no decision type games. But again, if you got him, you got to ride out the streak. Again, 2 straight games where quality starts, striking out a lot of guys, giving up no runs. Incredible 2 weeks, or incredible 2 games, I should say. Jesus Luzardo, Doug, I know you're not a big fan, right? You're not the biggest Jesus Luzardo fan. I don't know. I'm kind of turning on to him. I'm kind of liking what I see with him. I see his games. You talked about the matchups that he had. They weren't really powerhouse matchups, right? One against the Royals. Wasn't really anything competitive there. But he has strikeout power stuff. He plays for a very good baseball team. This guy, I think, is a great fit for like a number 3, number 4 in your roster, because he's going to get the opportunities to get wins. He's going to get the strikeouts. And that's usually the perfect formula for points. So I'm kind of riding it. I know he has some bad games at times. We've seen it before in the past, like really bad games. But man, when he's on, he looks great. I'm a big fan. Speaking of being on, how about Jake Bennett? What's going on with this kid, Jake Bennett, Doug? What do you think of this? You think he's the real deal, or do you think he's fake?
I want to hope he's the real deal as a Red Sox guy. It's just way too early. You know what I mean? Players just don't know what to expect from him. I think when that adjustment comes, if he can maintain it, yeah, he could be the real deal, man. He could very well be the real deal.
It looks like he's like he's not a big strikeout guy, right? But he has a lot of command, a lot of control. I was watching that game against the Angels. I think it was his last start there. He went 7 innings. Or maybe it was the start before, but still, he just kind of commands the zone. And it's not like he's throwing overpowering stuff, by the way, too. He's not this guy that throws 98, 99, 100 miles an hour. He is more about his stuff than anything. Is it going to be longevity? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Again, he's not an overpowering pitcher. So I feel like if it's just in the wrong day, wrong time, he can get whacked around a little bit. But man, right now it's really hard not to not put him in your lineups and ride out the streak, right? I put him in my lineup in my 14 teamer, and man, it's been working out great. It's been kind of a steal of a free agent pick at this point since he's been going on, but great to see. And then I think
I did want to mention the Red Sox. Wait a second here. They're slowly creeping up that wild card standing, man. I mean, like we already. I mean, we're going to talk about. We have a hot stove episode we're going to be talking about that's going to be airing on Monday, and it's going to go over teams' needs and what's not. Now, when I was looking at who's who and who was supposed to go everywhere, never once did I read the Red Sox were going to be buyers. They're all sellers, right? I mean, you're talking about Wilson Contreras, who's having a pretty good year. That silly signing actually looked like to be a genius signing, to say it what it is. Then you got even maybe like Sonny Gray going somewhere, or even Chapman, right? Not one article said they were buyers. They're only like 2-3 games out of the wild card. I mean, do you think they might be buyers?
I don't think so. I think they have a bigger plan in place long term, and without Crochet in there, and again, like I think I'm going to make more of an argument why they should be buyers than they're not. But you got a Crochet that's been hurt. You don't really know what's going to come from him later this year. You don't really have any update on what's going on with him. You got a Roman Anthony that's I think reported in Florida, and he's working out in Fort Myers somewhere. I'm not sure really what's going on with him. And those are the two biggest pieces offensively and pitching wise that you have on this franchise right now. So you would think they would want to build around those guys, but I don't know. I would think they would be probably sellers still. I think those guys that they signed, like the Sonny Gray and got him, if he overperformed, they can get something really good for him. I really truly believe that. Same thing with Chapman.
I do. I think although I do think like if they do become buyers, let's just say, right, and they do pull off a trade, it's going to be one of those long-term trades where they'll go out and they'll get just a surprising hitter that I think they're going to get, maybe trade a little more for him, and then just ride, like sign him long-term. Like it's not out of the realm of possibilities where it's a bat like, and I'm not saying this might be the bat, but I'm just using this as an example, like a Yordan Alvarez, right? How often have we heard, well, Houston might be selling him? I mean, that to me would be a good time for the Red Sox to, hey, I know we don't like to buy big because we're looking long term, but if we can do both, if we can buy for the long term, why not do it? And I'm just using him as an example, but I'm just saying like they need a bat. They have to address it because they know even if they get into the wild card, they're not going to get very far, right? So I do think they might be buyers, but I think they're going to be long-term buyers, if that makes sense. And there was someone who said that they not only got Bennett for their league weeks ago, they also got Seymour, who was actually turned it around for Tampa Bay. He had a rough month. They had him starting a little while, moved him into that mid-relief role, came back, and he's pretty good. It's been pretty lights out since back in the rotation. That relief starting pitcher eligibility is really nice to see. So, sorry, Mike, I just went on a rant about the Red Sox for a second.
No, I mean the Rays rotation is pretty interesting because they got Seymour cooking again, and then they skipped Shane McClanahan's start. I think it was like a few days, and they pushed him back, and then he's been lights out ever since then. Those last two starts that he's had, and then now you got Griffin Jacks, who's now really starting to get comfortable in the starting role. He's looking pretty good too. He's got a tough matchup this week. I think it's against Gilbert. I think they're in Tampa this week, Doug.
Yeah. Yep.
But he's been looking really good too. So the Tampa rotation, it's always fun because we always talk about them, and they always just have these guys that just pop up. I'm not even talking about Drew Rosman. I mean, he's been great all-star this year. He's been awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like all light cylinders for him, or it's all doom and gloom in the bullpen. It's one or the other with that team.
Yeah, that's a good call on Jax. I mean, let's not forget he was a Twins top prospect.
Closing.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. So that's hot. Now we go to not. Dun, dun, dun.
My least favorite list.
This is my favorite this week. Hold on one second because I might be having some technical difficulties here. Oh, I do have the list. This is embarrassing.
Nah, man, we're hanging out. It's only Friday night.
Where is it? I did have it.
Yeah, it's Friday night. You ever hear that song Friday Night? It's insane.
It might be the booze. That's why. Let me
Espresso
see.
martini before the show.
It was an espresso martini before the show. It was a couple. Well, I had to celebrate,
I mean, of course.
Let me see. Let me see if I got it here. I don't know if I did. If not, whatever. We'll just read it. Boom. Wow. There they are. Oh, and someone just asked a question. What do we think about Ronel Blanco? Don't forget, he, with the Houston Astros, threw that no-hitter a couple of years back. I mean, it's amazing that we can remember these things, isn't it? From like 20 years ago to just 2 years ago. I like him. He throws hard. I just, he's erratic. I mean, I don't know what you're going to get. I don't think they know what they're going to get. They do need rotation help. That's something that we're going to talk about in that hot stove episode, because I do see them going out and filling that if they do want to make a run, if they do become buyers. And that's another reason why I think maybe them and the Red Sox do make sense, because the Red Sox do have pitching. They need pitching. They have some good hitting. We need some good hitting. So that's where it all kind of makes sense. But that's all stuff you got to watch on Monday, all right? Something to plug in while you're driving to work or waking up and thinking, hey, I want to see what's going on. We're in the All-Star break. I need something to watch. Let me pop on some Doug and Mikey V. I say you do it. Go crazy, right? All right, so let's start talking about who's not this week. It's not really surprises. I mean, these are the type of players that you're going to get that will either win you or they'll kill you. Cubs outfield, Ian Happ, 81.3% owned, 182, no homers, no ribbies, no runs, 5 strikeouts, no stolen bases, -3 points in the last 7. And then you have A's first baseman Nick Kurtz, 98.5% owned. He hit a home run. And I think this is a first that I've seen this on a who's not list. To hit a home run and then still give you -2 points for the week, because he had 11 strikeouts. I don't think I've ever seen. Usually when you hit a home run, you probably usually get some positive points. Even with the strikeouts, you usually get like 2 or 3. -2 with the home run because he had 11 strikeouts. Some honorable mentions. You got Shea Langoliers. So that's 2 A's players. The A's had a rough week. Shea Langolier, Bryce Harper gave you -1. Jazz Chisholm gave you 0. Cody Bellinger gave you 1 point. William Contreras gave you 2. And then, of course, Tigers' Dylan Dingler gave you 3. So some surprises, some not real surprises, I guess.
Yeah, it's tough to see Cody Bellinger on this list again. I believe we talked about him last week too. And, man, he's just been struggling since Judge has been out of that lineup. He was really good. Obviously, those first few months, he was one of the top outfielders in the league. And all of a sudden, he's just really taking a dip. So I think some of these guys too, Doug, and we talk about this year in, year out, some of these guys need this all-star break. Sometimes they just need those batteries charged up again. And, it could be, I think a low, like a Nick Kurtz. Again, just having a rough week. It is what it is. He's had a rough start to it. Ian Happ, I think this is a guy that needs a break. I had him in a 14-teamer, Doug, and your expectation for him is batting .240, 25 home runs, about 80 RBIs, 90 RBIs, and then maybe a handful of stolen bases in there. And he's right about on par at this point, but not quite. There's been a little bit of a slight dip this year with him. But again, with that Cubs team being so hot, I don't know if they want to be out of the lineup, but I think he does for sure. He needs to take a break. So Jazz Chisholm, same thing. I mean, he's been on and off all year at this point. Not great. William Contreras, again, on and off this year. He had a little bit of a bounce back this year, but again, has these clunkers at times. And then, what was it, Dylan Dingler? Is he, did I read that he's hurt?
Yeah, he's day-to-day. Yep.
Yeah, so maybe he was battling through something this week and, try to fight through it, try to get to the All-Star break, and then maybe just couldn't make it to the finish line. So, hey, it happens. Happens to the best of us. It's a long season. People play through a lot of injuries. Sometimes they get hidden. Sometimes they get identified after a few games. So it is what it is.
All right. So let's look at pitchers. And let me tell you, this is a list. I mean, you're talking about some of these guys are drafted in the top 3 rounds of pretty much any team draft. Giants starting pitcher Logan Webb, 94.4% owned, 0-2, 10 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, 12 earned, 4 walks, negative 13 points the last 7. First loss came at Colorado. Then he was home versus Toronto. Second up, you got Philly starting pitcher Christopher Sanchez. He's 99.8% owned. He went 0-1. 3 1/3, 1 K, 9 earned, 1 walk, negative 11.4. That was at Kansas City. So these are some pretty winnable matchups for both these guys. I mean, the difference between the two is, Logan Webb's got 2 more negative points. He's also got an entire start more. So the fact that Christopher Sanchez gave you double-digit negative points in 1 start, I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell you nothing's wrong. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Could just be a blip, or maybe it's just him maybe starting to fall back down to earth. I mean, there's no way you thought he was going to give you a 2 ERA for the rest of the year. It's impossible. But I think he's more better than bad. Don't get me wrong. But it's just maybe it's his time to come back down a little bit. That's all. Some honorable mentions: Drew Rossman, negative 8.48. White Sox starting pitcher Davis Martin, negative 6. Hunter Green, negative 4. Bryce Miller, my boy, negative 3. Kyle Harrison, negative 2. And then Hunter Brown, negative 1. So what a list of honorable mentions on this who's not.
It's a mixed bag. Such a mixed bag. But I think the main character of this week, is Logan Webb, Doug. Just not really good first half. I almost kind of skipped the line when talking about having breaks at the All-Star break. This is the guy that needs to break. This is the guy I also think needs to change the scenery as well. We'll probably talk about him a little bit on Monday as well. But, man, I think this is a guy that can be so much better than what he is, that he's been performing in San Francisco to this point. But I do think he just needs a new location. And hopefully it happens soon. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, Doug, but I think a lot of it goes toward that. I think it's a stale place for Logan Webb. Christopher Sanchez, he was pitching at such a high level, and eventually he had to come down. I think eventually, Doug, Miz is going to come down. But Christopher Sanchez is the first one to come down from that high. And, watching that game against the Royals, it was rough. He was just leaving it over the plate. Like you see here, it's 9 earned, 1 walk. That means you're just getting whacked for 3 and 1/3 innings. So not a great outing. He needs to break. He might pitch in the All-Star game. I wouldn't be surprised. But, again, just kind of not a great start. A couple other names that you had on here, Doug. Hunter Green, great to see him back on a list, but just not on this list. Was the 4.4, I'm guessing that was his first start. I don't think he's had his second start yet. I think that might be tonight, though, right?
It is, and he is he's wheeling and dealing. He is wheeling and dealing, man, tonight. 8 strikeouts, 5 innings, 5 scoreless innings. I do want to also give a shout-out to my boy Sean Burke. White Sox. He is wheeling and dealing tonight against the Athletics. I did start him today, believe it or not. So, man, he was 23% owned. I picked him up and started him.
Let's take a minute and go back and review that list. Jake Bowers, I believe, hit a 3-run homer yesterday as well.
Yes, he did.
So, and I believe there's another hitter on there as well that's also producing this week.
There were a lot. Canzone, he's been on fire ever since he made that list we put on there.
Canzone looks great. Yeah, I saw him hit a bomb last night, right? Dead center. He looks great, too, so far in that lineup. I think, 15 home runs? We're talking potential 30 home run guy right there in Seattle. Very sneaky. Very sneaky. But, yeah, the rest of the list, Kyle Harrison, a little wear and tear, young guy, right? Still kind of picking up his innings, trying to get himself under himself. And then what was the last name you had on here, Doug? You had Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown, I think there's a lot of rust to be dust off still, and it's still clearly showing. And Houston, they're going to be in the playoff race. They're going to need him to perform in the second half. So I expect him to perform. I don't expect him to continue this, like I said, dusty road that he's kind of been on these last few starts for sure.
Okay. So let's forget about all this stuff and let's talk about some sell highs. And this is where me and you differ a little bit.
We do.
So let me just start. Let me show the picture of the first guy who I think is a great sell high. Let me talk about why I think he is. And then Mikey V, you give your rebuttal on why you think he should be. How's that? We'll do a little night court.
Let's do a little rock and roll.
All right. So there he is. I mean, great picture. Cardinals outfielder John Walker. We were talking about him. Look at great year. I'm not taking anything away from what this guy's doing. 294, 22 homers, 72 ribbies. This guy, I mean, that's crazy. You're telling me this guy's on pace for almost 140. 50, what does he have? 59 runs, 60 runs, and 97 strikeouts. 12 stolen bases, 272 points, or 3 a start, which is, I mean, usually 2.2 is startable. 3.3, 3 a start is must start. On the week, we talked about it. He made the honorable mentions list. 333, 3 homers, 10 ribbies, 10 runs, 7 strikeouts, 1 stolen base, 39 points. Now, let me go into my spiel here, right? What a year Jordan Walker is having right now. Absolute monster. He was probably picked up off of free agency in most leagues. He is now a top 10 player out of nowhere. And this is why I might be selling. Listen, to all you Jordan, there's no hate. This is just why, okay? This is a guy that has given you negative WAR the last 3 years. And now, out of nowhere, has given you career highs in pretty much every single category in just the first half of the year. He hasn't even played the full year, and he's already got career highs. I love a good Cinderella story like the rest of them, but you got to be realistic. This is just unsustainable. This is like deja vu. I'm pretty sure we saw this story last year with James Wood and PCA, did we not? Not to say Walker, he'll have the same fate, but let's be realistic here. The guy's on pace for 200 hits, 40 homers, 140 ribbies, 25 strikeouts, and almost 25 stolen bases and almost 200 strikeouts. I think the only thing in line with his career numbers are the strikeouts. He usually averages over a strikeout a game. And what do we always say about guys that strike out that much? When they're not producing enough to cover those negative points, they'll crush your team in leagues where you just get hurt from strikeouts. Right now, he's doing way more than enough to cover all those. But I fear in the second half, that might not be the case. I would sell if I owned him, really. He should get you a top pitcher, a top hitter. I mean, whatever you want in return, he's going to give you. And he's going to give you 20-fold on where you picked him up because you got him off free agency. You didn't draft him, right? I would try to get maybe someone with a little more consistent track record, someone you can count on. I don't know what you're going to get with Walker. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if he just straight out dogs it the second half. But again, I don't know. Nobody knows on any baseball podcast what's going to happen. If I could sit here and tell you the future, that I wouldn't have a podcast. I'd be winning money, living in a mansion, making bets like in Back to the Future. All right. But I would sell him. I would. And I know, Mike, you don't want to. I know you want to hold. It's tough for me to be a believer when you look at his last 3 years, where what he was doing, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, comes in and just breaks all his career high in offensive numbers in just a first half. Not even a full year, not just a first half. It's insane. It's staggering to be honest with you.
I totally understand. Where you're coming from with that. And a lot of times, Doug, with these segments, I don't think there is a right or wrong answer here. If you want to write out a guy, I totally understand. But you're right. You're in a scenario right now where you got a guy that probably you picked up from free agency, and you're writing this guy out, like you say, he's a top 10 player, right? So if you got a top 10 player, why would you move a top 10 player? And then if you don't think he's going to finish there, I understand that too. Like you said, it's a very high-performing first half, 73 RBIs, 22 home runs, just an incredible year so far, heading for average, right? I think he's got 12 stolen bases too, just kind of checking the boxes right now. So he's having a very, very good season. And look, when he got called up a few years ago, he was like 21. And some guys could make it at 21. Some guys can make it at 20. We're seeing it now with Jackson Cherio, who got called up at 20. We're seeing Connor Griffin when he's not hurt. He's producing. He's stealing a lot of bags, hitting for average. But there you got some late bloomers that also come with prospects as well. Jordan Walker's only 24 years old, right? He's had almost, I think, about 215, 220 games under his belt at this point. I think you need a lot of playing time to get used to the day-to-day with the schedule of traveling and what your BP is going to look like and your fielding schedule, and then just getting your day-to-day together, and then what that looks like from a baseball player standpoint. Being a top prospect is a lot of pressure on you to produce immediately, especially with these guys that get these contracts, at these ridiculous ages, right? JJ Witherholt just got his $112 million contract today from St. Louis. So these guys are getting paid so much money at a much, much younger age. And I think the expectation now is that they need to come out here and produce. The thing is, though, you need to let guys develop. I think at this point, I'm seeing the development of Jordan Walker and the comfort in him in that lineup. And also, by the way, it's a good lineup. I think he's got guys around him that's really helping him out. Alec Burleson having a career year to this point. We mentioned just JJ Witherholt. You got Ivan Herrera. He's a great number 2 hitter right there for them right now. So it's just a well-rounded lineup that I don't think he's going to stop producing in. Now, I think the question is, Doug, what would you do with him in a keepers league and a dynasty league? I feel like this is a no-brainer keeper type mentality guy because, again, some leagues you lose your draft pick. Some leagues you just, lose your first pick. But again, if you think he's crossed the barrier, which I think he has, I think this is not just a one-off thing this year. I do think this is something that could be consistent moving forward. Again, only 24 years old. You mentioned James Wood. It's a great comp. It's very similar. They both strike out a lot, but they got the power. He's hitting a home run every 15 at bats. I just think he's the real deal. So again, I don't think there's a wrong answer here. You can, like you said, if you want to get a guy more stable, you want to go after a Soto, right? You can get a Soto using a Jordan Walker in the deal. You telling me that I can't? I think I could for sure.
I mean, yeah, with somebody else, but it's like, I always think of like when like the guy in our league, Sean, would be like, well, hey, Jordan Walker has more points, right? So it should be a fair trade. You should just trade him to be straight up. I'm not going to trade you Juan Soto for Jordan Walker straight up. That's just not going to happen.
And neither would I. And I don't think I would either. But I'm saying, though, this is a big piece in a deal that could land you a guy like a Juan Soto. So I'm just saying, very, very possible. Very possible.
I mean, I like it. Like I said, I don't have anything against him. It's just you gotta show me. You gotta show me, right, for the year. And unfortunately, we said the same thing about James Woods last year. We said the same thing about PCA. Like, and what happened? We'll see. We'll see. When we go over the numbers at the end of the year and rankings and all that kind of stuff, we'll see where he lands. I just think his ceiling right now is the highest it'll be. Like, I can't see it get any higher because he's producing so good. This is it. Like, this is his ceiling. Like, it can't get any better than this right now. So I would maybe shop him. Maybe, I mean, you want to hold on to him, we can hold on to him, but is it really going to hurt if you don't want to listen to offers, though?
Like, if you had a Jordan Walker, who would you want to target for a more consistent guy?
A Yamamoto.
A Yamamoto.
I think him and a Yamamoto is almost a fair trade. Yamamoto's been a little up and down. He's still a top 10, top 15 starting pitcher. He looks good. He's got an offense behind him to give him wins when he does screw up. Jordan Walker, he's all up right now. So if he does come down, I think, and you end up getting a Yamamoto for him or something like that. Like that, I mean, does that make sense? Would a Yamamoto fit that bill, or do you think it would?
I think it's a good 1-for-1, right? And Yamamoto, you're probably not going to get 2 starts with him. So you're not going to get that advantage, but you're still getting a great quality pitcher that you can start week in, week out without having to blink an eye. So I mean, I feel like that's also worth its wild right there. I mean, he's like a 1A, 1B type pitcher too.
Well, and here's the other thing. You pick Jordan Walker off of free agency, you're getting a top 4 round pitcher. I mean, I can't think of a better scenario where that would happen. You know what I mean?
Very true. Very, very true. I mean, that's what you want too down the stretch here. You want quality guys.
All right. And Adam just said Mike V looking clean.
Ooh.
Doug's Liddy. I don't know. Doug's Liddy. I mean, I had a couple of drinks, Adam. Troll of the week. I think he's talking about Sean as troll of the week. But all right. So let's talk about who we're selling for pitchers here. Okay. And again, Mike, love to hear what you think is going to happen. And again, I don't know why this is happening, but let me load this thing back up. There he is.
Ooh, there he is.
Man, what a crisp picture right there. That is the one and only Taj Bradley. The old speaking of Tampa Bay and that pitching production that they have in that system. Great year for him. 8-3, 95 2/3 innings, 112 strikeouts, 38 walks, a 3.67 ERA, 218 points, 12.9 a start. That is very, very good. 12.9 on the week. 1-0, 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, no walks, 1 earned, 27.36 points. That was at home versus a not so sexy Guardians lineup that is missing its star in Jose Ramirez. So if you had told me we were going to finish out the first half with Taj Bradley as a top 20 starting pitcher, I would probably laugh in your face. But truth be told, here we are. He's been dealing. He's a top 20 pitcher. You can laugh in my face. Another free agent pickup that has been just so dominant, striking out over a batter an inning, 8-3 record for Twins is an accomplishment on its own because that offense is very lackluster. He's pitching like the version he's similar to almost Jordan Walker. Negative WAR his last 3 years, career highs or approaching career highs in almost every category. But again, like Walker, I don't think this is sustainable. The difference is you can kind of already see the chinks in the armor for Taj Bradley. He's got a 3.67 ERA for the year. I think in his last 12 starts, he's given up 4 earned or more in 5 of them. Hasn't gone over 5 innings in 6 of them. I think his saving grace for fantasy owners has been strikeouts, 112 and 95 2/3 innings. But again, he's given up at least 1 earned in every single start this year. He has not pitched a start and not given up a run. That is crazy. I just think living on the edge, the way he's doing it, usually comes back to hurt a player. You know, similar to, again, Jordan Walker with the strikeouts, right? I would probably try to sell Taj now. I mean, the return would definitely be better than what you could hope for, especially, like I said, with Jordan Walker, a free agent pickup, right? If the league's geared towards starting pitching and he was scooped up quick and the league rewards you for quality starts, then he might not get as much because those quality starts, like I said, I think, like 6 he hasn't gone over 5 in 6 of his last 12 starts. So he hasn't given you a quality start. So if you're in a league that rewards you for quality starts, you might not want to give more than what you would have if Taj gave you more quality starts. You know what I mean? Because you're missing out on those extra points. But, you know, either way, I don't think it's I think it's a great time to sell. I don't think he can get much higher. The ERA is really high. He does give up runs. He does strike out a lot. And let's not forget, he was also a little injury prone on top of that. His first couple of years in Tampa, he was on the IL. I think he did hit the IL with the Twins earlier this year. So that's something else to keep in the back of your mind. But he is a top 20 pitcher. And in leagues where starting pitching is coveted, this is a guy that you might be able to trade for and get something really, really good back. And a free agent you picked up. And now you can trade for somebody who was drafted, in the top 10 rounds of a draft.
Yeah, Taj Bradley is kind of having a coming out party this year, right? We knew he had the stuff in Tampa, but it just never got put together. And he's really starting to really find himself with Minnesota this year. He looks great this year. Look, I agree with you. I think he should definitely be dangled out there. I think he should definitely be thought about as a trade piece. Looking back at his old numbers, man, I'll tell you what, not what we're looking at from this year, that's for sure. He did have 27 starts last year, but man, a 5 ERA, like a 1.31, like whip, like not very good. Like just not very good numbers across the board. He wasn't even a strikeout pitcher last year. And then this year, he's just kind of flipped a 180 and just really has just been a different guy. So I don't know. I would probably definitely dangle him out there. He's definitely a great piece to put into a package for like a 2-for-2. Still a quality arm. I do think he's going to be potentially available during the deadline as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a guy that would be moved. And only 25 years old too. Sneaky young still. So If you're a believer, I mean, nothing wrong with that, but I don't think I'm a believer. It doesn't sound like you're a true believer over there when it comes to the Taj man. But yeah, I do think this is a guy that could be moved, could be on a different team by, the next month or so. And I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's going to benefit him? Do you think this continues like the way it does, Doug? Like, I'm looking at his numbers. It's crazy. He's got 112 strikeouts, 95 innings. Like, he's almost a strikeout per walk guy. So his numbers look really sharp. Is he going to be is he like a Jack Flaherty where he can have a great first half where he makes himself valuable and then goes somewhere else and then the next year kind of just collapses, right? So is this kind of that kind of thing that we're seeing here?
I kind of compare him to somebody who also pitched in Minnesota, Sonny Gray. And in that he's just like, I feel like if I'm an owner of him, I don't know if I necessarily want to see him get traded. Like, I think he's comfortable in Minnesota. I think maybe he's found his foothold there and maybe it's bringing out the best of him. If he goes somewhere else, say, I don't know, say like a big market team, like the Yankees make a splash or, I don't know, maybe the Dodgers, even though, they're probably looking at Scooble. But, I don't know if he's going to put up the same numbers, right? He might just be one of those small market team guys that is just comfortable being where he's comfortable. I mean, Sonny Gray put up some of his best numbers with the Twins, his best seasons with the Twins.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe there's something in that water. I mean, he's having a great year with the Red Sox this year, but still, I mean, that doesn't take away from the success he had in Minnesota. And I think Taj, he just likes it there. I don't know. I just, as a fantasy owner, I do own him in the Bourbon League. I did start him this week, so I did get the win, which was nice. But as an owner of him, I wouldn't want to see him moved. I don't think I would.
I tend to agree with that. It's nice to see the guys keep the success of where they're doing it at. Again, you just don't know where he's going to go, and then you don't know if he's going to produce there or not. And there is a little bit of an injury in history there as well. So, yeah, there's a couple red flags to be precaution about. So, yeah, you're right. I think at this point, All-Star break coming up, top 20 pitcher. You're going to have a few days off. People aren't going to just remember the last, few starts or whatever he's had. And you might be able to move him. I think this is an easy guy to move.
Oh, yeah.
Pitching is always valuable.
So let's talk about buying for a second. And you're going to laugh at me for this one. I know you are. But there is some rhyme and reason for this. It's not just because I own the man. It's just because you look at the trends for the last couple weeks. Before I even go further, let me show you the man I'm talking about. There he is. There's the Quan stick. This is going to be wild, but I'm buying, and this is his absolute low. Listen, not a great year, right? 247. He has a home run, 1 home run, 14 ribbies, 37 runs, 35 strikeouts, 4 stolen bases. He's giving you 1.7 a start, 147 points. That's not startable. That's not 286 on the week, no homers, 1 ribby, 3 runs, 2 strikeouts, 1 stolen base. Give you 14 points on the week, on the last 7. So there's still life there. There's still some life, okay? But hear me out, right? It's been just a disappointment for Quan owners. This is a guy drafted in and around the 7th round who, like I said, is pretty much droppable. I mean, 1 home run on the year. I mean, things are bad when Luis Arias has more home runs than you. Averaging 1.7. It's not good. But he's had an 8-game hit streak recently, hitting 286 his last 7. His strikeouts on the year are just 35. Honestly, like I said, as an owner, I probably would have dropped him if he did strike out a lot, but he doesn't. And to that point, he doesn't hurt you too much because of that. I do believe deep down that Steven Kwan is going to have a big second half. I think the Guardians are going to be buyers. I'm not saying they're going to go out and get a top-tier guy, but a Brian Reynolds perhaps. He looks like the type of player that would fit this mold of what the Guardians are trying to create. And let's not forget, Jose Ramirez is going to be coming back. So you get those two big bats in that lineup, suddenly, wait a second, things are clicking, right? So again, I'm buying Quan this second half, and if you're in need of outfield help for your team, this guy is going to cost you absolutely nothing. Honestly, absolutely nothing, right? This is the bottom. You go out, you buy extremely, extremely low. You ride the wave because you know this Guardians team is going to make a push this second half. They did it last year. They're a second half team, and they're contending right now without J-Ram in that lineup. So just imagine when he gets in that lineup, they go out and they get a mid-tier bat like a Brian Reynolds, and all of a sudden, well, hold on a second. Now they're running on 4 cylinders. Stephen Kwan's numbers are coming up a little bit because he doesn't strike out a lot. That's what I feel like is going to happen. What do you think? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Is it just too much bourbon?
No, I don't think it's too much bourbon. But, you're right, though. He's been on this little streak right now, and I think he's only got 35 strikeouts for the year. So, again, he's never going to kill you. Like you said, only 1 home run. But, again, he doesn't hit a lot of home runs. He's only going to hit you maybe 10, 11, 12 throughout the year anyway. His bread and butter is not striking out, getting on base, and scoring runs. And if Cleveland wants to win baseball games and make the playoffs this year, not only do they obviously need Jose Ramirez back, but they also need someone to be producing while he's out. And Stephen Kwan needs to be a part of that team to do that. That being said, like you said, it's not going to be very costly for you. Probably a free agent in a lot of leagues at this point right now, right? 141 points in our league. That puts him probably, what do you say, Doug, out of the top 50 or so in outfielders? I think that's pretty far out there. So he might be on a team, but if he's on a team, he's only dangling on him for a little bit longer. And then, like you said, this is the opportunity to go out there and get a guy that's going to be able to produce for you. And if he has turned this corner, you're getting a guy that's a top, 10 pick. Not top 10 pick, but a top 10 round pick at the end of the day. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking to build your team at the best value. And like you said, this is why we have this segment, is to show you guys that go out, get them while you still can, or sell them while you still can. I think Stephen Kwan's a smash buy. I think you're absolutely nails on this one.
And to go back about the All-Star break, you say that there are guys that definitely need a break, a reset. I think Stephen Kwan is one of those guys. I think he's happy to see the break. He knows after the break J-Ram's coming back. He knows after the break, the Guardians might go out and hopefully, fingers crossed, get somebody because they do need help and then make a run. And if all that comes true, just watch out.
There's a few guys this year. Like last year, we talked about Freddie Freeman a lot. Freddie Freeman was one of those guys that clearly had something going on later in the first half. Needed the break. He turned it back on. Stephen Kwan, very good call out. Definitely needs to break. Another name to also just to throw out there, just while I'm thinking about it, Vinny P. Vinny P coming back from his rehab. Obviously, terrible first half, but he had a great WBC. So now he's got this break coming up. Now maybe he's got a reset. Again, a lot of these guys need the break sometimes.
Yeah. And there was a question, who's here to stay that came up. So I'm assuming they're talking about, players that have just been called up. Who do you think is here to stay?
I think there's a couple. Let's start with Milwaukee, right? I think Milwaukee, I heard, has called up 7 new people this year that made debuts. That's a lot of people to make debuts. Who's that? The outfielder there, Lura. Lura. He's starting to hit the ball pretty well for them. He's a platoon player right now, but he looks really good. He makes a lot of contact. Same thing with Cooper Pratt. I mean, we talked about guys that get paid at a young age. Cooper Pratt is one of those guys. He got paid earlier this year. And now he's playing some pretty good shortstop. I think last night, Doug, what was he, 2 for 3? Am I a sicko for just remembering that? I don't know. Maybe I am. But let me think, top of the head real quick. I mean, we just talked about Jake Bennett earlier. I mean, I think he's going to survive in that rotation. Thank you, Adam. Laura, L-A-R-A. Almost had it. But, yeah, I think Jake Bennett's another one. I think he's really solidifying himself in that rotation. Ranger Suarez going on to the IL. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. I think he's going to get his fair shot. So I think that's another guy that's going to stay up. Obviously, everyone's waiting on Cade Anderson to come up. But I want to tell you right now, I don't know how many people are watching this right now, but I'll tell you what. Do not buy Cade Anderson this year. There's no room for him. They got 5 other pitchers. They already got Luis Castillo going into this, sub-start role where he only goes a couple innings, and they piggyback him from there. That's going to be a tough place to find a lot of innings for Cade Anderson, especially this coming second half, for him to actually be a relevant name coming up this year. So this may be a name that's popular, but maybe I would stay away from. Maybe not until next year where there's a spot open up for him.
I do want to say there's a really good rookie. He's not called up yet, and I forget his name, but he's with the Rockies. He's their first baseman. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he is actually really raking in AAA, and that team, I think, will call him up, and I think he might be the real deal just because he plays in Colorado. And Mike, are you doing me a favor and looking him up for me?
I am. Yep.
I appreciate that. I know he's hitting over 300 in AAA.
Charlie Condon.
That's it, Charlie Condon. I think he's going to be the real deal, man. I really do. I feel like he's a guy. I mean, a lot of leagues already have him picked up and stashed, but he will get the call just because the Rockies really don't have anything to play for. So
let's talk about him for a second. His ETA is this year. He's 23 years old. So again, this is prime. He plays first place. He plays outfield. So 2 positions, 6'5", 216. So that's a lean man right there. That's a tall, lean man. And let's see here. Looks like he was, looks like 3rd overall pick, 2024 draft. So highly talented, 55 power, 55 hit. This guy is kind of just like this golden child, it looks like. Yeah, winning Golden Spikes Award winner. Yeah, this guy's kind of a must, huh? I mean, geez.
Don't we pick him up now?
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah. No, it looks like he's pretty good. Maybe you have to look out for him right now. There is another outfielder that did get called up, Craig something, but he's been raking for Colorado as well this week. He's got like 20-something points, I believe, but playing good ball over there. Yeah, let's see his numbers here. 268. OBP is actually at 376. Wow, that's very high. Slugging a 444. Yeah, 14 home runs, 58 RBIs. He does have 112 strikeouts in 99 games, so let's keep an eye out for that.
He's a hit or miss, yeah.
Yep, and he's only got 2 stolen bases, so he's no speed demon, but he does have 98 hits in 99 games. So that is pretty impressive in its own right.
Somebody to watch out for. All right, so let's time is flying by. We only got a couple minutes, but let's just go a little longer because we got to give the people what they want, right? So let's talk about what else we're selling. What we're buying. And we're going to look at pitchers. And here's one that I think I am going to buy. There he is. If you don't know who that is, this is Tigers starting pitcher Casey Mize, however you want to pronounce it. On the year, not too bad, right? 4-5, 71 innings pitched, 72 strikeouts, 16 walks, a 2.6 ERA, 135 points, 10.4 a start on the week. 1-0, 6 2/3 innings, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 earned, 20 points. That was at Texas against a really hot Rangers team fighting for first place here. Okay. This guy was a 26th round pick in our money league that, when healthy, pitches as good as almost any starter pitcher in baseball. However, that's the thing. Health has been a huge concern for him. The strikeouts are there. He doesn't walk a ton. He's just a 16 walks on the year. He doesn't give up a ton of runs. I look at his starts, and he's that pitcher that can actually limit damage when it happens. Some pitchers kind of just implode and hits just keep rolling. He's the kind of guy that will give up a ton of hits and just not and be able to just stop it, which I like. Now, on that, we're all waiting to see if or when, the Tigers are going to tear it all down. Are they going to sell it this year? Are they going to buy? I think if they do, Casey Mize would be going to a contender, which means more run support and more wins because Detroit really doesn't give that to him. So I would buy him, Casey Mize, however you want to pronounce it. Man. I'll say Mize for now. I would buy him now. This is probably really as low as it gets. It's a gamble on him being moved because, even if he doesn't, he's still a quality pitcher. He can still win games. But I think you make the trade betting that he does. You really want to cross your fingers that he does get moved. He's a quality pitcher. You can get him really cheap, and this is what you want in fantasy. You want a guy that fits the bill, that's cheap. The only question is his health, and if he can stay healthy, you're talking about absolutely winning any trade that you go out and make for this guy. Any trade, but again, there's a lot of what ifs. If they do trade him, where would they trade him to? If they don't, where can you live with making a trade for him and him playing for a team that really doesn't score a ton of runs most of the time? Of course, I'm saying they do score runs, but you don't. For some reason, you don't see him a lot. I mean, Skubal, for instance, how many two earned games he gives up 2 earned, and how many losses does he have or no decisions? Right? I mean, obviously, if you're buying Casey, you want him to move, but it still wouldn't be bad if he doesn't.
Dude, if he gets moved, I think he's going to cost a little bit of a pretty penny for a team to get him. And I think if they're going to pay the pretty penny, I think he's going to a contender. I don't think he's going to go to some schmo team that's not going to score a lot of runs like that Detroit is already for him. I think he could be legit. I think this guy can really go to I'm not saying a Dodgers, but I'm not going to leave Dodgers out of the picture either because everyone's talking Skubal. I mean, man, and Casey Mize, don't forget, this guy was one of the top prospects from coming up, and some of these guys need a change of scenery to be better. And it's funny, Adam just said, Mize to the Brewers. I was kind of thinking that too. I mean, imagine him in a Brewers rotation playing for a team like that. That's a great fit right there. And they got, obviously they got Miz in there, and they already got Kyle Harrison that's pitching really good this year. Man, they could really solidify themselves putting in a Casey Mize there as well. I think there's a lot of teams that could use him. And, man, if he does move, his value does skyrocket. I was looking at his splits. I couldn't believe it. What was it, 72 strikeouts and only 13 walks? Pretty impressive. That's pretty good control stuff. He's really kind of put it together the last couple of years. So, I mean, man, he was just injured. He's coming back. He looks pretty good. Looks healthy, putting up good quality starts, the last couple starts, right? I mean, why not? And is it going to be a killer to buy him if he's on another team, right? I don't think it's going to be too crazy to target a guy like that. Who would you give up for a guy like that, Doug?
Well, before I do that, I do want to say a fit that I thought made sense for me too is the Yankees. A guy that might not cost them as much as, I know everybody's saying they might maybe there and play for Skubal, but, I think the Yankees need to go to a 6-man rotation when Max Fried comes back. I think it only makes sense. You got Cam Schlittler, who's, already has a ton of innings. You don't want to wear him down. You want to make a real big run in the playoffs. And I think the Dodgers kind of have that script set on what to do when it comes to that. Hey, let's just have all our good stunning pitchers get hurt at the beginning of the year and have them come back at the end so we can have them for the World Series. That's almost the script. So I think though, I think he's a good fit. He does look like the type that fits that mold, right? He's a power guy. He's got good command. He's almost a poor man's Garrett Cole in some sense. You have a rotation with him, Cole, Fried, Schlittler, Rondon, and then maybe a Will Warren. And that's the other thing too, right? Because Will Warren is kind of up and down. Ryan Weathers he's going to be out of the rotation. He has to be at some point, So I just think he makes a little more sense there too. I do agree with the Brewers though. But again, we're going to be talking Monday on hot stove stuff and what teams need pitchers. And Casey Mize and Skubal will be there. And honestly, I have a real hot take about Tyreek Skubal that I don't want to give out right now because you got to watch the show Monday morning on YouTube, FSAN channel, baseball. But it makes sense. And it's not to the Dodgers. That's all I'm going to say. It's not to the Dodgers and it's not to the Yankees.
And we got a question for you, Doug. We got J-Main34 on here. We're saying, what happened to Hunter Brown? What's your thought on Hunter Brown so far to this point, Doug? I know we talked about it a little bit, but you want to elaborate on what your thoughts are?
I think it's just injury, really. I think he's getting back from injury. He missed a significant amount of time, right? A month and a half, like 6 weeks, I want to say. He just needs time. I mean, his stuff is there. He still throws hard. It's, unfortunately, he's just leaving it over the plate. He's given up some pretty long home runs. So I just think you give him time. Unfortunately, if you're an owner with him, it kind of stinks that, you draft him so high. Obviously, you start him every week, and he comes out and he's not looking as good. But I do think he needs time. I do. I also think he was kind of overdrafted this year, if I got to be honest. But that's my opinion. You would say it differently because I know you're a big Hunter Brown guy. But, I mean, what he did last year, I don't think he could replicate this year because their numbers were just so good.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm still buying Hunter Brown. I think his schedule looks really good for the second half too. So, again, just give it some time. I would probably just be a little bit patient. I know he's already given up a couple runs tonight too. I think 3 innings, 2 earned already. But again, with that break coming up, reset. Houston's going to be in it. He's going to be, important to have.
And a Junior Caminero home run to end the show. What more could you ask for, huh?
All right, end it. Let's end it.
I gotta say, I do gotta say though, I did start Sean Burke, and he's pitching a gem against that Oakland. I saw it's Oakland. I keep saying Oakland.
Can you believe
I'll just say A's.
That's number 28. Number 28 for Junior.
You got to keep a Junior Caminero. You do. You have to. But with that said, our time is it's pretty much over now, right? It's 8:00. It's been a fun hour. We were able to talk about some of the hot hitters, some of the cold hitters, some really wild selling, some really wild buying, answered a ton of questions. Love answering questions. It's always fun. So listen, we're here live every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll run a little longer if we have to, like we did today. We don't care. We love talking baseball. I'm even out. We love drinking while we do it. It is Friday night. What better way to celebrate a Friday night than to have some drinks and talk some fantasy baseball? Now, with that said, we also have a show on Mondays that we cut and we put out Monday mornings. It gets released at 8 a.m. It's a show. Usually it's about lineups. We like to talk about some pitching matchups, good pitching matchups, tough pitching matchups, good lineups, bad lineups, some really good streamers, which I have to say we have hit a lot of the streamers that we have talked about in the past. Canzone was a big one. I'm drawing a blank now.
Bowers
was a big one. Bowers. I mean, they were all pretty big ones. So, if you're bored on a Monday morning, you're stuck at work and you want to talk and listen to get some fantasy advice or just some ideas on how to set a lineup, make sure to stream that. Watch it on YouTube. And, of course, with the break, this Monday is going to be a hot stove edition. We are going to talk about players, a lot of different players unfortunately, they only give us an hour. So we're going to talk about a lot, and we're going to talk about destinations. We're going to talk about teams, what they need, what they might give up. It's going to be a real fun, jam-packed hour episode. That's for sure. And like I said, we're going to start the episode right off with Scoob. I don't care. We're going all in, man, with the Scoobs.
Love it.
It's like a Band-Aid. You tear it off.
Love it.
But, all right. So, for Mikey V, I'm Doug. This is Bourbon N Ball. Thank you very much. We enjoy the time. Hopefully, we'll see you back here again next Friday night. All right, guys? Have a good weekend.